Your character goes through many emotions, watching her sister struggle. Can you just talk about what that was like for you and the different elements that you had to tackle in the film?
Honestly, it was an honor and it was a privilege. And the reason why was because I was already aware of the case, and I have sisters, and so I know how it is to want to protect someone, to fight for someone, to care about someone. I lost my grandmother when I was 16, and when that happened, I had a sister who was younger than me, and I was in school in DC, and we were homeless. And so I had an individual who I was working for tell me at 16 that, you know what, girl, you can emancipate yourself and get a job and take care of your siblings. And so I was going through the process of emancipating myself so that I could attempt to take my siblings in and raise them. And my brother, who's in the Army, moved from Philadelphia and to Virginia, and he took me in for my last year of high school, which is how I learned about the case. And so I used a lot of that, wanting to protect my siblings and my grandmother and her sister's story to really delve into the character. And then learning the way of the world outside of that, like the emotional part of it, learning the way of the world really helped me to understand the conflicts that was happening.
Absolutely. I'm from Virginia as well.
What part?
Yeah, Roanoke, Virginia.
Roanoke, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
I went to school in Woodbridge, C.D. Hilton, my last year, and then
Wow.
Ellington School of the Arts in D.C. before that.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. An incredible story.
Thank you.
I lost my dad not too long ago, and I have a 17-year-old sister who's in college, so I definitely understand what that's like to have to put on
my
that.
condolences.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Talk about what it was like to work with Jeff. He's so charming and so amazing.
Charming, sweet. One of the best directors to work with, an actor's director, because he understands the plight of actors, and he's so compassionate and caring, and he wants you to get your best performance, and so he takes his time with you, and he makes sure that you understand the character,
right,
and that he gets what he wants, in terms of a performance he wants also.
Yeah.
So.
Can you talk about the importance of Mildred and Richard's story today, the modern day story of them? Because we need this story, we need to see it. But talk about the modern day story of Richard and Mildred and what that means.
It relates so much to so many aspects of our life, because at the core, the story is about love.
Absolutely.
And individuals who love others of the same sex are still fighting the good fight, even though we've been able to overcome the hurdle a little bit. They're still being discriminated against.
Absolutely.
People of color are still being discriminated against. Our presidential debate is showing us that many things haven't changed.
Right.
We're like, woo, President Obama's in office. And I remember it was my freshman year of college. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got a black president. My president is black. My Lambo's blue. Exactly.
Right.
We're excited. We're proud.
Right.
Not that much has changed.
Yeah.
And then even thinking about having maybe a woman for president.
Yeah.
We're moving forward, but slowly. Yeah.
Earlier this year, you released another film, Midnight Special, which was so different from this film. How did you transition from doing something so science fiction based to a film like Loving?
This is the 5th film I've made, and there is continuity there. Mm-hmm. And the continuity is in the emotional core of each film. That's the one unifying thing, I think, that I try to do. I don't always accomplish it to everyone's satisfaction, but what I try to do is make a film and make a point in the film that emotionally reaches out and touches the audience, makes them feel something that I felt when I was inspired to start telling the story.
Right.
And so when you're approaching things from that perspective, it's not so much a calculation of genre or not genre. It's really a calculation of emotion. And the same mechanics that went into the emotional gut punch that I find in Midnight Special are very similar to the mechanics that take you all the way to Richard Loving at the end of a bed saying, I can take care of you, I can take care of you.
Oh, that moment.
And that for me, that was the fulcrum point. And so really, it's the same tools. It's the same result that you're going for. The
Right.
genre is just the fun part around the edges.
Absolutely. Now, you bring me to my next question. You said this is your 5th project. This is also the 5th time you've worked with Michael Shannon, who seems to be a little bit of a gem at this point. Can you kind of talk a little bit about working with him? He has a smaller role in this film, but has that affected any way that you direct or that you approach directing this film?
You know, Michael Shannon taught me how to be a director.
Wow, that's
he was the
awesome.
lead in my first film, Shotgun Stories, and I knew nothing. And I very much took my lead from him. You know, he was very instrumental in making me the director I am today.
Absolutely. Now, you made a very interesting choice to introduce us to the Lovings when they're already in love
Yes.
and they're already expecting their first child. What was it that made you want to do that? Introduce us to them at that moment instead of showing their love story. What was that approach for you, and why you made that decision?
I think as a storyteller, you're looking for representational scenes.
Right.
You're looking for scenes that in the moment the behavior plays totally logically. You know, like that's what they would have said, that's how they would have reacted. But at the same time, it's telling you more. It's a compound statement. It's showing you where they've been, where they are, and where they're going.
Right.
And those scenes are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And that's what that opening scene feels like to me. You're automatically caught up to the fact that they've had a relationship, they've been intimate with one another.
Right.
That's all a foregone conclusion. But even a more important conclusion is that that they love one another.
Right.
You can just feel it in that particular moment, because what a special moment when your wife tells you that she's pregnant.